Job, a perfect man. Just how many people would God be able to vouch for as he did with Job, calling him blameless and perfect? I imagine not many. It's important to note here what perfect means. In some translations, it reads upright. Remember, Job is careful to offer his sacrifices to atone for any sins. And so, what we should understand is that Job is walking with the Lord very intentionally to obey him, to honor him with his heart, not just his actions, to avoid sin. So, when a man such as Job obeys the principles of God and is blessed with family, prosperity, and favor among men, this makes a lot of sense to us as Christians because we're still very two-dimensional in our thinking. We formulate be good, get good, be bad, get bad. If we take a look around, we'll observe that life isn't as black and white as we would like it to be. Sometimes very evil people seem to get very good outcomes. Vice versa, some of the most wonderful people suffer terrible tragedies and misfortune. While Job knows this paradox to be true, his confusion at the loss of every blessing is very real, and understandably so. With the loss of his livestock, the slaughter of his servants, the destruction of his property, and the death of all his children, who wouldn't wonder if God was angry with them, especially when Job knows that he has committed all his ways to the Lord? Naturally, Job is wrestling with everything he has ever believed about whether God is good, about whether God is faithful, about whether God cares about his circumstances. He struggles to reconcile his knowledge of a good divine Father that blesses obedience against his present circumstances. Of course, in his pain, he would even question God's decision to permit his suffering. Now, Job doesn't wrestle alone in these deep, profound thoughts. He wrestles with three of his friends that turn out to be the worst comforters. As we read their arguments, we'll notice that theologically, many of their points were true. The problem is that they met Job's pain with a spirit of religion and human wisdom rather than with discernment and grace. It's a point we should observe. When we're not led by the Spirit, our good intentions alone may have us misuse the truth of the word, and we can end up adding to the pain and confusion of our brethren. Thankfully, God understands the difference between a man who has questions for him versus a man that is questioning him. Though Job's pain betrayed his faith at many points, like a rubber band, he would eventually acknowledge the truth that God is not only sovereign, but just in all he does. He acknowledged that God's ways are higher than ours. He would submit to the peace that comes in trusting God in his lack of understanding rather than contend with God from such a low vantage point. Job learned when peace isn't found in understanding, it's found in trust. It's found in faith. Faith in him, faith in his sovereignty, faith in his just ways, faith in his goodness. Blessings.